As you can see, I was able to secure some Zep. Now, Zep also comes in a 1 gallon jug. It's what the plumbers in Jersey used to use, but our water in New Jersey didn't have the mineral problem that the water here has. Now, also there's Lysol. That's more of a product for the housewife. There's also a gel. So how I know we have a really bad mineral problem here was the guy next door. He come over and he rang my doorbell and he wanted me to come over and show him how to measure uh, the resistance of the heating elements. Our hot water heaters are electric. There's two elements. There's one on the top, one on the bottom. And he's showing me with his meter, and I said, "Dude, you can't measure resistance when it's on." "Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, now think about this. He knows I'm an electronic technician, and he's arguing with me. I hate that, and I just said, "Look, uh, show me your meter." And every scale on that meter was burnt out. And he goes, "Well, I used to use it on the car to measure the current of the battery." I said, "No, you measured the voltage of the battery." "No, you can measure the current of the battery." I'm like, maybe you burnt the scales out that time. So anyway, I had my meter, and I made him shut the power off. And I went across the bottom heater, which we knew was working. There's the resistance, what, like 5 ohms, whatever it was. And then up on top, open. And he's like, "What?" I said, "It's open. It's gone." So I looked at how old the hot water heater was. Now in Jersey, you got about my street, you got 7 years out of a hot water heater. We were on the bottom of a hill. Our water pressure was 130 pounds. Most areas of the country are about 85. So whenever there was a fire nearby, they would crank up the pressure and they would pop out people's hot water heaters. So anyway, that's the experience. And a few times in Jersey, I opened a spigot on the bottom of a hot water heater to drain the water, and it came out a little bit cloudy, but it wasn't worth the work. It wasn't worth the work. If some of that mineral comes out and gets caught in the spigot, you can't get the spigot to shut the water off. So that becomes another problem. So anyway, so we're here, and the guy he realizes the hot water heater has been in the house a long time, and he's going to go buy a new one. So I go home with my meter, and he comes over later. He goes, "I drained it the best I could, but," he says, "I can't. It's too heavy for me." So I went over there, and this is before I had one hernia, but not the second hernia. So anyway, I went over there, and we carried it outside, or we rolled it, and on an angle. You roll it on an angle, like a garbage can. And we got outside, and then I left. And the next day, he's over calling me. I go, "What's fine?" He took the Sawzall and he cut the hot water heater open, and 1/3 was minerals. That's how bad it was. And he had dug it out with his hand and threw it on the driveway. He left it like that for like 2 weeks. And my other neighbor on the other side was complaining what a mess he made. I said, "But do you see how much minerals was in that hot water heater?" So it didn't really stick in my mind. And then I noticed I was cleaning my toilet bowl more than normal. And I'm just thinking the one in New Jersey wasn't that old. Maybe the porcelain, when it's newer, that the minerals don't stick to it. No, we have a mineral problem here. I had a guy come in and change a valve, a plumber. And while he was here, he uh, he tested the water, and then he says, "Look," he says, if ever you need a hot water heater, don't call me. I want to put in what was it, water purifier unit in your house before I put a hot water." I said, "Look, that ain't gonna happen." So he left, and then when my hot water heater did go bad, yeah, it became an electrical problem. I told you about that once before. Um, I had Purple Plumber come and he changed the hot water heater for me. And I got my it was just over the guarantee period. So I think it was 10 years. Well, anyway, I have new hot water heater in there. I know there's a high mineral content here. So I finally found Zep. It was in Home Depot, not Home Depot, Walmart. Several times I went in there, and I had the person look it up. We don't carry it, Then I come back home. They carried it. I went back. I actually found the shelf. Uh, Two sections. The Zep is in two different sections, along with the 1 gallon jug. This time when I went back, they had the 1 gallon jug. They had little packages and bigger ones. And well, anyway, I got the Zep, and Zep is twice as thick as a gel as Lysol. And I've been reading up on it. And I'm hoping to get a few more years out of the toilet bowl. Being able to get the Zep up inside the would be the trap of the toilet bowl. I know it's got mineral buildup in there, and yes, if you put some type of dissolving chemical like this in the trap and let it sit there for like a half hour, you would be able to put some type of brush up in there, and that's why I bought this. We're gonna see if this works. Then I can make something on my own out of those brass toothbrushes. I don't know if you ever seen them, but anyway, I just wanted to tell you. I started asking all the men like when I was in Harbor Freight. I asked the guy. He goes, "Oh yeah," he says, "every so many years you got to replace the toilet bowl because of the buildup in the trap." I go, "You got to be kidding me." He goes, "No." He says, "Even if you keep the toilet bowl really clean, the trap you might look in the beginning of the trap and you'll see it." I said, "Well, I also found that there's a hole where the water from the toilet bowl flushes two different ways. Some water comes down from the top of the bowl. Those have clogged, those little holes. And I put in a piano wire and went around the last time I went through all this, got that all cleaned up. But I wasn't aware there was a trap. I know there's a trap in the toilet bowl, but I never realized maybe the buildup would be in there also. But I went around and I asked other people that live in this area, other men. One guy was putting in the LED lights. Was he the one that told me about? Yeah, he's the one that says there's actually a grease and hair remover that comes in a black bottle and it's inside of a black plastic bag. I found that online. That's considered the most powerful bathroom cleaner you could use, other than I think it was muriatic acid one time. I was at a guy's house and the 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 pipe was clogged with hair, and he poured acid down in there and got it to start running. He was selling the house because I said, that could eat the pipes. He goes, "I don't care. I'm selling the house." And that was the quick way. Some plumbers will actually do that, and at some point, you have to actually replace the pipes in the house because that acid eats through the pipe. But man, the smoke that came out of that. That's right. You want to open the windows and stuff. And he poured this acid in. I think it was muriatic. Anyway, it was a big 1 gallon jug, and it wasn't a gel. And he poured it in, and it backed up. And then you start seeing the smoke coming up. And then all of a sudden, it ate the hair, and then it started to flow, and then he ran some water through the pipe. But I've been asking around. They go, "Oh yeah, we got a bad mineral problem here." And I'm like, man, I'm not in the mood to buy another toilet. My next purchase will be a shed. And houses do cost money. They are basically a sponge. But what kills me is all the years I learned how to repair everything, and I was always helping my neighbors in New Jersey. Now I'm here, and there's nobody that gets into anything like I did. See, my neighbors would at least hold the flashlight, and my father, when he had a problem, he could count on me to take care of it. And and plus we had more money then. But it's so funny, you start thinking, well, I can do it this way. So what I have to do now is, anytime I poop, I have a plunger, and I have to help push the toilet paper through and the poop. And sometimes it works. Sometimes it works fine. It flushes. It works fine. And then other times, I know exactly if it's spinning around, if it's going to go down, and get the plunger ready. But I've been thinking about all the different methods I could use to clean the toilet. But it's definitely the trap. It's not we can see the toilet. That hole is big enough. But it is what it is. But I just want to show you, because I mentioned to someone Zep. And Zep, it says Pro over here. But Zep, this isn't for housewife. They both have danger. Both of them have danger. But this is child's play compared to this stuff. And like this other guy says to me, oh, you got to go one better than Zep. He says it's a black bottle. I found it online. It's a black bottle. Comes in it. He says you'll know it. You got the right stuff. It comes in a black plastic bag, even though it's a bottle. It's like double protection for the EPA or whatever. I can't believe we're flushing some of this stuff down the toilet. But I just want to show you. Yeah, I'm working on the house, and today I took it easy. I took it sort of easy. I went walking around, and um, I've been doing other things. Uh, and my problem is I keep telling myself I'm retired, and I don't like doing housework. And I've gotten really lazy. And I got two hernias, and I can't lift anything too heavy. And I got those two hernias from helping other people. I got one on my belly and one on my left hand groin. And the one in the left hand groin in Jersey, that healed, and it was fine. And then this guy kept bugging me. I was selling stuff off in order to move. This guy wanted the workmate, and it was real heavy workmate. It was maybe it was 500. It's a workbench really, and I forget his name now, but he come over to the house and he looked at it a few times, and then we go to take it off the wall. It was hanging. It had hanger that I built, and as I'm taking it off the wall, this guy decides he can't lift it, and he lets it go, and I caught it on the way down, and then I felt the bulge. Up until then, all my life, I always had like a pulled muscle in my groin. Well, that was the moment the bulge revealed itself. And the guy goes, that was too heavy for me. I said, and he didn't buy the thing. That's what I learned about people. They play make believe. And I didn't know to just take it off the wall myself. But he's like, here, I'll help you. And then as soon as we lift up and got it off the hooks, he let go. And I caught it because I didn't want it damaged. And then some other guy showed up at the house, and I told him the whole story. He ended up buying it. And then that guy called me back up, and he offered me $10 for the workmate. I got 50 from the guy. The thing originally went for like 125. There used to be these things called workmates, and there's several models. And I had the lightweight one, and I had the bigger one, and I might have had a third one. I was crazy with my tools. If I had extra money, I'd buy another tool. But I wanted to show you, if you're living in an area where the minerals are really bad, but you probably have your wife cleaning the bowl, but I'm just letting you know that the trap could actually be bad. And there's also the little kids throw army men in the toilet bowl. They throw a ball. Now the ball is the worst. The ball goes down the toilet and gets caught in the trap. You put the snake down, and the snake will go past the ball. When you come back up, the snake will come past the ball. And I noticed one person had a store, and several times he had to take the toilet bowl off the floor because someone came in to visit someone that worked there, and the little kid had to put a ball down the toilet. One time it was an army man. It was kind of a funny story. He said the first time he did it, he took the bowl off, and then when he set the toilet bowl on its side to look, the army man was, when I'm holding the rifle, and he said the army man was shooting at him. He said it's fine. And after that, it was two balls. The kids would come in, bouncing the ball, and the one time, the guy actually said to the woman, "Can you take that ball from him? I don't want him putting it down the toilet. I've had a problem here." No, she didn't do that. She went yapping with her girlfriend, and then the kid snuck in the bathroom and flushed the ball down the toilet bowl. And right away, he knew what it was. That it was that the kid's bowl suddenly went missing, and the toilet bowl wasn't working. And I did some repairs at that store. Like I said, I always get a problem that I've never seen before, but other people have seen it. And the other thing too, I showed you in my video, the section of fence that blew down, and I've been getting around to ordering the parts. And every time I was going to order the parts, it was going to rain. I told you it kept raining Saturdays. It just kept raining every day. And I told you I come up with this, when I say to people, instead of saying hello, I say it's going to rain later. Now today it hasn't rained at all. And it's 4th of July, and it's really nice out there. It's too hot for me, but for anybody younger than me, it's been a nice day finally for a Saturday. And then I was at the dollar store, and the girls said it's possible Sunday we're going to get some showers again. But it's either been really hot here. We had a heat wave 7 days, something like that. I lost track. I put the air conditioner in. Thank God I put the air conditioner in, and it still works. It's 17 years old. It works really well. It's nice and quiet, and it's what the hell is Frigidaire? Yeah, it's a Frigidaire. I went reading on it. It is a good it is a good air conditioner. I bought it at Kmart. Kmart's not even there anymore. But I bought it at Kmart and I wheeled it home in a shopping cart and put it in, and I take it out every year. And this year I treated it to a new piece of sponge. There's a piece of sponge. When you lift the window up, along the top of the window, you put this sponge there so the bugs can't come up and around through the windows. But it's so funny. I turned it on, and last year was the first year I put the air conditioner away level, and it didn't make all the noises. Every year when I turned it on, it made like the squirrel cage in there. It's plastic. It's like it was warped, and probably from being on its side, it just got a little bit warped. And by laying it down, it must be vertically laying down, and it didn't warp. So the air conditioner is really quiet. I think that's it for today. Yeah, I did a few videos. They're different than I normally do. I know a lot of you want radios, but watch. Let's see. Today's Friday, right? Tomorrow, I keep thinking tomorrow's Sunday. Tomorrow's Saturday, and it might rain. It always rains on Saturday here. I've been telling you that story. We had 2 Saturdays where it didn't rain, and one of the 2 I got soaking wet. I went out and it wasn't raining, and it formed over the neighborhood I was in, and it got me. But that was it. And then when I got home, it stopped. But that might be one of 9. Yeah. But we've had this weekend here, or this Saturday. If it doesn't rain today, we've had 3 Saturdays where it didn't rain at all, and it's been horrible weather. I mean, and I got stuff I got to start doing, but I'm not in the mood to do it. Even like the radio, which is right here. I finally got that put back together, and because once you fix something and you see it working, it's like you pull the screws back in and all. All hobbies come to an end after a while, and I started realizing that I was buying the same circuit, an RCA patent, in most of the radios. Now when I look at the circuit, remember I told you I understand the circuit and how it works. Well, it's all the same circuit. And then these guys that do the kitchen radios, the 5-tube, AC/DC, Super Heterodyne dynamic receivers, All American 5s, AA 5s, they're really easy to recap and fix, and they still screw them up. And there was something that somebody was telling me, and I realized I was reading something online, and the person, they buy stuff and then they never follow up on it. What was it? Well, anyway, I realized that with people, they would rush me. They'd come over to my house. You got to fix this. You got to get this working. And I fix it. 3 months later, they still haven't put it back in. But they needed it like right away. You got to get this fixed right away. That's why I'm like I am, because I was around people that basically wanted me to come over to the house and put it in for free. Now, yesterday, I was at Harbor Freight, and I was originally looking for an auger to do the toilet bowl. I'm figuring, at worst case scenario, if you buy a toilet bowl auger, which is a snake, and you put the gel in there, right? You squirt the gel in there, and then you take the auger and you work it through, and that opens it back up. I'm still not beat on this toilet bowl yet. But I went over there, and Harbor Freight has a toilet bowl auger, and the guy told me it was aisle 2 behind the blue workbench, behind the blue setup or something. So I go over there, and this other guy I was talking to about the clogged trap in the toilet bowl, he come over with me. He was following me around, talking to me. And I just said to him, I said, "You're married?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Does your wife talk to you?" And he goes, well, when I first come home from work, she talks to me a little bit before bedtime, and then in the morning a little bit. And I said, I can tell. I just knew. And he looked at me with that sad look. And he was just like, was he an electrician? Yeah, he was an electrician. And, I could relate to an electrician. I was telling him some of the funny stories. And then the guy outside I hung out with, he's changing the what do they call them? The lights. Oh, what the hell was it? Sodium, high pressure sodium. And then I was over there looking at how big these bulbs were now that he brought them down. And then he's putting LEDs up. And he was telling me some of the stories. Some of his stories were sort of on the line of bullshit. I didn't want to call bullshit on him, but he was a nice kid. But yeah, yeah, some of the stuff he heard over the years. It's like the one kid, the last time he screwed me out of a lot of money. He kept telling me in a few years we would have wires in the house that had no resistance. In other words, superconductor wires. Never happened. I kept saying, to have a superconductor wire, you have to have minus zero. And he just stared at me. He didn't catch that part. The guys he hung with give him bullshit stories, and he'd come back and tell me. And if to have a wire that has 0 ohms, it has to have it's got to be in absolute zero. And I had all this stuff in school in electronics. I remembered it all, and I'm standing there going, it ain't gonna happen. And in the wires, if you could make a new kind of wire, it'd be probably so brittle you wouldn't be able to bend it. But he was this kid was he was not. But this other guy was sort of he was hitting me with something, and I was like I wasn't buying into it. But I just want to show you. Yeah, I'm getting the stuff together to work on the toilet bowl. That's it. I'm weighing all my options, and yeah, I could have the purple plumber guy come and pull the toilet bowl and put another one down, but it's only going to do the same thing. What I need is a way to clean the toilet bowl trap. I think the auger is the way to go. But anyway, at Harbor Freight, they have a 12-foot one, and I don't need the 3-foot one. And I thought maybe they might have the 3-foot. I couldn't find the 12-foot one, and this other guy's trying to help me, and it was so funny because that's what I do. I'll go in the store and I'll start talking to someone, and I'm very chatty, and I'll hang out. We'll hang out. We'll find a spot where nobody walks by, and we'll stand there and tell each other our life story. And this guy was doing it to me, and I just felt no one's talked to him in a long time, and he's got his own business. It's not like he's a failure, but I know what he's got for a wife, no matter what he does. And it's not a plumber. He's not a plumber. He's a electrician, and I was talking to him. We were laughing about can you look at it for me? He knew all those. He goes, yeah, fix it for free. And then he would just start shaking his head. He goes, oh, none of my relatives dare to call me for anything. He says he won't even fix something for them and charge them. Get another electrician. I'm going to charge you the same amount. Go bother someone I don't know. And I go, wow, that's pretty good. See, I never did that to my relatives. They played me against my Uncle Chuck. And then one time my Uncle Chuck spelled it out for me that the one uncle was bringing stuff home from work, and he had me fixing it, or Uncle Chuck gave up. And he had this uncle had me fixing stuff, and he was getting favors at work or money. And then this guy said to me, yeah, he goes back to work, he gets money for what you do for free. He caught on to it, and then he put me in. So the next time he brought something to the house, he go, where did you get this thing? I kept questioning. Well, it's a guy at work. I owe him some favors, And that's the story with I had a string of line cord, not a line cord, a dial cord, and I had to buy $10 worth of line cord at this place. And then when I said to my uncle, when he's getting ready to leave, I said, dude, you owe me money for that dial cord. Well, how much could it be? I said, I had to buy a roll for $10. Well, you'll have it for the next radio. So that's the kind of crap I put up with people. So I stood there and I said, no, you're giving me $3. And you want to see him counting those $3 out, like another dollar might have been stuck to it. But I started telling my mother, look, I can't keep fixing stuff for free. And especially, I was going somewhere that night, and my mother says, Uncle so-and-so's coming over. He needs you to fix something. And the one time he brought me a CB radio, the guy put the mount on the radio and drilled holes in it and then put screws through the circuit board. So I'm down in the cellar and I'm using wire to fix the circuit board because it's all broke. And this uncle starts yelling down, "Boy, you're sure taking a long time. I look like that. We could have rebuilt one." And at that point, I told him basically in a nice way, "Get lost. Don't come back here again." But and then one day I was talking to his daughter, and she says, "Oh, he thought the world of you." I said, "Yeah, that's because I was fixing stuff like a chump." Okay. Well, I didn't understand that. Yeah, yeah. He's bringing all kinds of stuff home from work. And then he's the one that he got a new truck, and it was a positive ground. And he insisted the radio went minus. There's a switch on certain radios. And he burnt the radio out. He brings it to me. I change the parts. He burns the radio out. This went on several times. And then he's telling my mother, I don't think John is that good at repairing. And then I put a note on the radio, and he took it into work, and somebody else read it. They went over and they said, yeah, this is a positive ground. So now he calls me up. He doesn't say, well, what do I owe you? No, he burnt the radio out like several times, and I replaced all the parts because they gave him a new truck, and he didn't think to ask one of the younger guys, um, "What do I do with it's a new truck?" He didn't know. He just kept burning the radio out on me. Yeah, I have some really horror stories, and it's the same people over and over and over, and they would make comments to me like, "Gee, I thought you knew how to fix stuff." And then the one time the guy said to me, "Well, you're practicing, right? You got out of tech school." I said, "I'm out of tech school 10 years. I'm not practicing anymore." And I think he still made more money than me driving a truck. So I didn't say anything nasty like, well, I make more money. I don't think I did. Truck drivers used to make really big money. I think that's it. All right, that's it. Enough with the stories.